Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Pheno Field here in Milford, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. It is finally time for us to get back outside to begin this 2017 spring sports season here on Milford TV. And for our first spring game of the season, we have the Scarlet Hawks baseball team here at Pheno getting set to take on a rival from the Kelly Rex division, the Franklin Panthers. The first pitch in this game coming up in just a few short moments. Milford comes into this matchup 1-2 overall on the season. They claimed their first victory of the year just 24 hours ago here at Pheno. A big 11-3 win against the Canton Bulldogs. That came after a couple of tough losses to open up the season. It's been a tough start to the year with all of the weather concerns we've had over the last couple of weeks. Milford getting their first game in back on April 3rd, a 4-2 loss to King Philip, and then they followed that up with game number 2 on April 10th with a 15-0 Mercy Rule loss to the Stoughton Black Knights. But finally getting off of that early season skid yesterday with a good victory. The Bats breaking out in a big way with 11 runs scored, pounding the Canton Bulldogs, so they hope to keep that momentum rolling over into this game here this afternoon. They face a Franklin team that has gotten off to a 2-1 start overall on the season. They were able to win their first 2 games of the year before coming up short in their most recent contest against the Taunton Tigers. That was back on Monday of this week. That was a 5-2 loss for Franklin against Taunton, but still 2-1 overall on the season, and this is expected to be a talented group in Franklin this season with many key players returning from last year's team. Milford, of course, you know the deal with Milford. That 37 consecutive seasons of making the playoffs ended last year, coming up just short of a playoff berth, and for the first time in nearly 3 decades, Milford coming up, or excuse me, nearly 4 decades, Milford coming up short of a playoff spot. But they look to regroup this season. They still have plenty of talent on this roster, but also looking for some new players to step up. Right now, Blake Hill absent from this team as he continues to work back from those wrist injuries, but also the concern with Blake looking ahead to his collegiate career at the Ivy League with Yale coming up this fall for football. So unclear as to how much we will see of Blake Hill this season once he is healthy. So the main bulk of this offense is going to rest in the bat of Aiden Wild, who of course is a perennial Hockomock League MVP contender. He is back in the lineup for his junior season. He's batting third today and will also be your starting pitcher. And with that, we will bring you the full starting lineups for both of these teams before we get started. We will begin with the visiting Franklin Panthers. Leading it off is their center fielder, Jake Lyons. The second baseman, Cam Lupine, bats second. Ryan Hodgkins, the right fielder, bats third, with Josh Mackey, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot. Tyler Gomes is the designated hitter, batting fifth, with Jake Noviello, the third baseman, batting sixth. Alex Haba, the shortstop, bats seventh, with Jake Mackey, the catcher, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the left fielder, Evan Wendell. On the mound in this one for Franklin, they have really a 3-headed monster in terms of their starting rotation. 3 very talented arms. Today we will see Brian Wolfell as the starter for the Panthers. And now for the starting lineup for the Scarlet Hawks. Leading it off is the center fielder Ryan Gonsalves, with Anthony Arcudi, the second baseman, batting second. Aiden Wild, as I mentioned, bats third and is your starting pitcher, with Zach Tamani, the shortstop, in the cleanup spot. Alex Cody plays third base and bats fifth, with Tyler Renault in as the DH, batting sixth. Alex Masick is your first baseman, batting seventh, with Kevin Cambrola, the left fielder, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the right fielder Tony Mobilia. And as mentioned, Aiden Wild getting the start. Just 3 games deep now into the regular season for the Scarlet Hawks, so getting a look at this rotation now, which they're looking for arms to step up. Of course, you know what you're going to get out of Alex Masick, who had a very solid season once he returned from injury during the high school year last year, and then went on to be a very strong contributor in the starting rotation for the Milford Legion baseball team. And of course, most notably, Masick stepping up in a big way in a winner-go-home situation in the playoffs against the Maine South Legion team. So Masick will shoulder the load in terms of the rotation, but Milford also looking for solid contributions out of Aiden Wild. Also, Nate Irwin back in the rotation this year, and some other players looking to step up as well. But this will be the first pitching duties for 2017 for Aiden Wild, who right now makes his warm-up tosses as Milford has taken the field. The Scarlet Hawks in their traditional red uniform tops with white uniform pants. The Franklin Panthers donning their navy blue and powder blue, getting ready to take their first at-bats here in the top of the first inning. It is beautiful weather conditions here at Pheno Field. A little bit cool, a little bit of a breeze, but all in all, blue skies overhead, good sunshine, and certainly a welcome sight. We've had some great spring-like weather this week after some late snow, some early spring snow, wreaking havoc on the beginning of this sports season, and also some torrential rain for many days last week really caused the athletic directors across the Hockomock League and really across the state to scramble to try to figure out schedule changes. This game is actually a makeup game. This matchup was supposed to take place here at Pheno Field last week, but it was postponed due to rain. Milford really getting creative with trying to figure out schedule solutions at the beginning of the season. We were possibly going to see a varsity game take place at Town Park last Friday between Milford and Taunton, a game that was originally slated to take place in Taunton, but the Taunton baseball field not playable, so they were going to try to play at Town Park, which they thought would dry out by last Friday. That did not turn out to be the case, so that game is going to be made up later on in May. So again, this is the third game of the season. Milford with that 1-2 overall record, trying to get to the 500 mark here today against a tough opponent in the Franklin Panthers. Right now it is Jake Lyons in the on-deck circle waiting to take the first Franklin at-bats of the game as Aiden Wild finishes up his warm-up tosses. Aiden had a solid season coming out of the bullpen mostly for the Legion team last year. We saw him a handful of times pitching for the high school team last year. A lot of those starts unfortunately happened outside of our Milford TV coverage, but the pitching has really continued to improve for Aiden Wild in his young career. Still just a junior. This is just the beginning of his junior season. A very seasoned and talented player in the Hockomock League with still so much more improvement to be made. It's unbelievable to see the progress. Just a world-class talent in Aiden Wild. So he is on the mound ready to face his first batter as Jake Lyons steps into the box for Franklin on this sunny afternoon in Milford, ready to see the first pitch. Here's the windup and the delivery. And the first pitch misses outside for ball one, and baseball is underway here in Milford. Tim Coed happy to be bringing you this coverage of the 2017 spring sports season. This ball is a tapper back to the mound. It gets past the glove of Wild, but there is Tamani to back it up at shortstop, and a good accurate throw to Alex Masick at first, and it's 1 up and 1 down. 6-3 on the ground out, and with 1 out and the bases empty, here is the second baseman for the Panthers, Cam Lupine. The righty's pitch is in for a called strike 1. We'll see Aiden Wild in the field at shortstop when he is not on the mound this season. That has been his customary position with the baseball team. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now on the right-handed hitting Lupine. The 1-1 pitch is high. And Wild now falls behind. Lupine up now. Ryan Hodgkins, a dangerous hitter in the number 3 spot, waiting on deck. Wild back into the windup. Here's the pitch. And that hugs the outside part of the plate, evening the count at 2-2. The base is empty with 1 out in the top of the first inning. Riley Lynch is the catcher in this game. He is flexed out of the starting lineup, so only playing defensively. He calls the signs for Wild, as Wild's 2-2 pitch is sent foul and out of play. And it stays a 2-ball, 2-strike count. The head coach once again for the Scarlet Hawks, Paul Pellegrini, he had a lot of praise for Riley Lynch as he looked to fill that void behind the plate. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is waved at and missed. Wild took something off that one. The breaking ball fooled Lupine. It's the first strikeout of the game for Wild. He's retired the first 2 batters here in the first, and now here is Ryan Hodgkins. The Franklin offense operating well to start the season, to the tune of that 2-1 record. They scored 5 runs in their opening game of the season as Hodgkins looks at a ball high. And then notched a 1-0 victory at pitcher's duel against Oliver Ames back on April 10th. Before Franklin suffered that 5-2 loss in their last outing against Taunton. And they check down to first base. The home plate umpire wanted to call the strike on the swing, instead deferred to his colleague down behind first base, and he said no swing. And this pitch is up high. That just barely missed the helmet of Hodgkins. Aiden Wild trying to finish off a 1-2-3 first, but he's fallen behind Hodgkins, and now that pitch, that hits the inside part of the plate. In on the hands of Hodgkins. The wind blowing out towards left field here at Pheno as that ball is swung on and missed. And Wild now one strike away. It's a full count to Ryan Hodgkins with the bases empty and 2 gone. Here comes the payoff pitch, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning for Aiden Wild. A very strong start to this one for the junior. 1-2-3 go the Franklin Panthers in the top of the first. The Milford Scarlet Hawks will take their first swings of the game when we come back next. It's scoreless between Milford and Franklin here on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks now ready to come to the plate in the bottom of the first inning against Brian Wolfel. It will be Ryan Gonsalves, Anthony Arcudi, and Aiden Wild, the 3 batters expected. Gonsalves now stepping in on the right side. Filling the role of center fielder today, which we saw last season occupied by Chris Speroni, who had a very strong season. Gonsalves looks at the first pitch from Wolfel. It misses high for ball 1. The next pitch, this is sent out to shallow center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit in front of the center fielder Lyons. And immediately Gonsalves gets things started well for the Milford offense with a leadoff single. And the Milford bench, which occupies the third base dugout, pumped up after that leadoff hit. And now here comes the senior, Anthony Arcudi. Anthony coming off of a tremendous season with the Scarlet Hawks basketball team, one of the captains for that Scarlet Hawks team. Great offensive numbers throughout the year, a great emotional leader for the basketball team. And of course that basketball team making it into the playoffs, finishing off an improbable comeback win in the 4th quarter against Marlboro. And now looks to bring that same level of intensity to the baseball field. Arcudi a swing and a miss, and the count evens at 1. Of course, Anthony Arcudi, as we have come to know, brings a high level of intensity to anything that he does. Arcudi lays off that pitch, but it's in for a called strike 2. Gonsalves, the runner at first, creeps out to a lead. He's being held on by Josh Mackey, the first baseman. Catcher sets up outside. This pitch comes inside, and Arcudi sends it down the third base line, but foul. The defensive alignment for Franklin, it is Jake Mackey behind the plate, Jake Noviello at third, Alex Haba at short, Cam Lupine at second, and Josh Mackey at first, left to right in the outfield, Evan Wendell, Jake Lyons, and Ryan Hodgkins. Here comes another 1-2 pitch. Gonsalves takes off. The pitch is in for strike 3, and the throw down to second base is not in time. It's a steal for Gonsalves, a strikeout for Arcudi. And that puts a runner in scoring position with 1 out in the inning. And the big bat of Aiden Wild now coming to the plate for the first time this afternoon. A good throw might have gotten Gonsalves at second, but that throw short hopped the second base bag. And by the time the second baseman could apply the tag, Gonsalves had slid safely into second. He now leads off of second base as Wild is ready to go in the right side batter's box. Here's the pitch, and that's in for a strike. Again, you saw the catcher Jake Mackey set up far outside. That pitch from Wolfel drifted back in towards the plate, but Wild did not swing. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that drops in on the inside part of the plate for a called strike 2. A much better pitch from Wolfel, and he is ahead of Milford's number 3 batter, 0-2. Wolfel back to the set. Here's his pitch, and that's in for a called strike 3. And Aiden Wild goes down on 3 pitches without taking the bat off his shoulder. A bit of a look back to the umpire for Wild after that strike 3 call, but it looked like a good pitch from up here in the Pheno press box. So a big strikeout. 2 Ks in the inning so far for Wolfel. He still has that runner in scoring position now for Tamani. And Tamani takes the first pitch for a called strike one. Of course, when we talk about basketball heroes in this Milford lineup, you certainly have to talk about Zach Tamani. He taps this ball foul at the plate. He falls behind 0-2. Zach, amongst the league leaders in scoring for the Hockomock League in basketball this year. Tremendously talented athlete on the court. Trying to protect the plate here, down 0-2. He sprays that pitch foul off towards the parking lot. And it will stay an 0-2 count. 2 outs in the inning and a runner in scoring position. Wolfel checks that runner, the second baseman creeping in, but the pitch to the plate is tapped out in front, but that is a foul ball. So Tamani down a couple of strikes, fouling off some tough pitches, trying to keep this inning alive. Milford with the first potential run of the day in scoring position. Here's the next pitch, and this is sent foul again. Once again, off towards the parking lot. Gonsalves, who led off this inning with a base hit. A big lead off of second. Here's the pitch. This is sent out to shallow center field. It's going to drop in for a hit. They'll wave Gonsalves around from third base. He will score without a throw. And Zach Tamani comes through with a 2-out RBI single to give Milford the first lead of the day. It is 1-0. Just a terrific at bat from Zach Tamani. Down 2 strikes. Continued to protect the plate, fouling off pitches. He found one he could handle and dropped it just outside the infield dirt in center field. And good enough for the speedy Gonsalves to come around to score, so Milford capitalizes in this first inning, and now it continues for Alex Cody. He takes a look at strike one. And the next pitch misses outside. Alex Cody really turned heads last season as a freshman, making this varsity team, showed excellent plate discipline. The lefty batter against the right-handed throwing Brian Wolfel, who sends a pickoff check over towards first. Tamani back with the dive. A 1-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks, 2 outs deep in the bottom of the first. Tamani again leading off of first. He was leaning in the wrong direction, but just scampered back to the bag. And immediately Zach pops right back out to a lead. They'll check on him again, this time an easier time getting back to the bag. Alex Dion out in the third base coach's box for the Scarlet Hawks. Tamani takes off. The pitch is low and outside. Here's the throw down. And Tamani is safe. A feet first slide into second base. The umpire came over for a look, maybe to see if Tamani had slid past the bag. He clearly looked to get there ahead of the throw. But the slide took him across the bag. He was able to maintain contact, so that's the second steal for the Scarlet Hawks in the inning. Another runner in scoring position. And the 2-1 pitch into Cody misses for ball 3. So Tamani with a run batted in, and now a steal to his credit, leads off of second. The shortstop in behind him as the pitch comes to the plate, and it's down and away for ball 4. That's the first walk issued by Wolfel. The Franklin pitcher had an opportunity to get out of this inning. Back-to-back called strike 3s to Arcudi and Wild, but the clutch single for Tamani and now a walk puts 2 runners on base with 2 outs for Tyler Renault, who takes the first pitch for a called strike. Tyler in his senior season, now a captain on this team. He swings away at the 0-1 and comes up empty. course, the bad news for Tyler Renault, finding out that he injured his labrum during the Legion season in which he pitched valiantly in relief, so Tyler will be unavailable to pitch during this 2017 season, but can still swing the bat. And if you had a chance to watch our baseball season preview on the Milford Informer, you heard Coach Pellegrini really praise the leadership qualities that Tyler brings. Happy he can still be a factor on this team this season. This pitch misses far outside. But certainly a loss for the bullpen. A solid left-handed reliever. Renault lays off that pitch. Looked like it might have been a slider out of the hand of Wolfel. It misses a little bit outside. And Renault battling back in this count. The runners lead, the pitch, that's in for a called strike 3. That froze Renault. An excellent pitch from Brian Wolfel. He ends up striking out the side in the inning, but a 2-out RBI single from Zach Tamani allows Milford to score the first run of the game, and after one full inning of play, it is Milford 1 and Franklin nothing here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Franklin will send up batters 4, 5, and 6 in the top half of the second inning. Aiden Wild now pitching with a 1-0 lead as he gets the second inning started. And he gets it started with a called strike 1 against Josh Mackey, the first baseman. A pair of Mackeys in the Franklin starting lineup. Josh, the first baseman, Jake, the catcher. And Josh at the plate now with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. The windup and the pitch from Wild. This is sent down the third base line, but foul. Quickly scooped up by the Franklin third base coach. Sent back to the starting pitcher. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count to the right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch, and that's low. The head coach for the Franklin Panthers is Zach Brown. As this pitch misses inside, it glances off the glove of Riley Lynch. And now a 2 ball, 2 strike count to the Franklin first baseman. Franklin looking for their first base runner after they went 1-2-3 in the first. Here's the pitch, and this is golfed foul off the left hand of the third base coach that time. That wind now blowing out pretty steady out towards left center field. Might be a factor for balls hit up in the air, but no contact this time as Mackey swings and misses, and you can make it 3 consecutive strikeouts now for Aiden Wild. He's got the first one here in the second, and that will now bring up the designated hitter, Tyler Gomes. Gomes a key presence in this Franklin lineup this season. Takes the first pitch that just misses for ball 1, and right on cue, a bit of vocal disagreement from Coach Pellegrini out of the dugout, who never shies away from letting the umpire know how he feels. This time, Wild's pitch is in there for a called strike. Righty versus righty matchup. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's low. Tyler Gomes had 16 runs batted in the 2016 season. He takes a pitch up around the face, and they will say that made contact. He didn't see much reaction from Gomes, so it might have just been a graze, but enough to get him to first base on the hit by pitch, and that's how Franklin gets their first base runner. It's the second time we've seen Wild come up and in with his fastball. Excellent velocity for Wild. The only issue for him on the mound these previous few seasons has been command, which at times has faltered when he's on. He is just about unhittable. Was very consistent coming out of the bullpen for the Legion team last summer. Operated as post 59's closer. came in many key situations over the course of the season and in the playoffs. And was someone Coach DeVito counted on quite a bit. A runner at first base now with 1 out in the top of the 2nd inning. Jake Noviello, the batter at the plate, and he takes a called strike 1. The 0-1 pitch, that's in there for strike 2, so Wild quickly gets ahead. Noviello in his junior season. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That is outside, not enticing for Noviello to chase. That went all the way into the left side batter's box. Noviello crowds in close to the plate. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's swung on and missed for strike 3. And already 4 strikeouts in the game for Aiden Wild. His last 4 outs have all been recorded by way of the K. 2 down now in the 2nd inning, and that leaves things up to the shortstop, Alex Haba. Wild from the stretch, his first pitch misses high for ball 1. The number 7 hitter at the plate now for Franklin, batting with Tyler Gomes at first base, reaching on the hit by pitch. As this ball is sent out to shallow right field, a conservative play out there for Tony Mobilia. He plays it on a hop. Quickly gets it back in. Gomes stopping at second base on the first base hit of the game for Franklin, a 2-out single for Haba that now places runners at first and second base with 2 outs. And a chance now for Jake Mackey, the catcher. And the first pitch to Mackey is in for a called strike. I can't help but notice the presence of former Milford softball and Milford Legion head coach Brian Mackey in the stands for this game, so perhaps a relation. The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed for strike 2. Wild trying to battle back to strike out the side in this inning and strand these runners aboard. Gomes the lead runner at second, Haba the runner at first, 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Wild ready with his 0-2 pitch, and it's tapped back towards the mound, scooped up by Wild. He fires to first, and the 1-3 ground out will bring an end to this top of the 2nd inning. Franklin strands a pair of runners. Wild able to get out of the jam, and after an inning and a half here in Milford, it remains 1-0 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Senior captain Alex Masick will lead things off for the Hawks in the bottom of the 2nd. Takes a breaking ball from Brian Wolfel that stays high for ball 1. Quickly ready with his next delivery. This is bounced to the left side, ranging over is the third baseman Noviello. Sends a high throw to first base. Did he sweep the tag on? And the 2 umpires pointing at one another. Who wants to make the call? And the 2 will get together. The first base umpire pointing at the home plate umpire, and then the home plate umpire pointing right back. And now they'll make the out call, which naturally brings Coach Pellegrini out of the dugout. That throw was high. The first baseman, Josh Mackey, just blindly trying to sweep the tag on the way by. It looked like there was no way he was able to get that tag down prior to Masick reaching first base. And Coach Pellegrini continuing to plead his case now as he backpedals towards the third base dugout. The call will stand, so it will go as a 5-3 ground out, a bit of an adventurous play. But Milford denied a base runner to start their half of the 2nd inning, and now with 1 down, here is Kevin Cambrola. Cambrola batting .222 on the young season. He has 2 hits in 9 at-bats. Has 1 extra base hit on the season. Woelfel's next delivery. That drops in at the knees, just grabbing a piece of the bottom of the strike zone. The next pitch, that's in for strike 2. We've seen a bit of inconsistency in the umpiring when it comes to the bottom part of the strike zone in Major League Baseball to start this season. Hard to say if that will have a trickle-down effect to high school and Legion. I've heard talk from Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred about rising that strike zone back up above the knee. As that ball is tapped foul at the plate, Cambrola stays alive with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. For a discussion that dropping the strike zone down to the hollow of the knee has made offense tougher to come by. Another 2-2 pitch, and this ball sent foul to the backstop. The number 8 hitter ready to see another 2-2 pitch, and that drops in for strike 3. No argument from Cambrola. Heads back to the dugout. That is now the 4th strikeout for Brian Woelfel. They have all been called strikeouts. So he has been fooling a lot of these Milford batters this first time through the order. Milford does lead it 1-0. And now the first pitch into Tony Mobilia. Tony getting the start in right field. Of course, right field has typically been Blake Hill's domain over the previous 3 seasons, but Hill just a spectator at this point in the season. As we mentioned in the open, hard to tell if or when Blake Hill will suit up for the team. This pitch from Mobilia sent out in the air out to left center field. A long run. That's going to get over the head of Lyons and roll out into deep left center field. Mobilia can fly. He's around second base. Here comes the throw as Mobilia heads into third. He dives in safely with a triple. Tony Mobilia, we've seen that kind of speed when he's running outside the numbers on the football field. He turned on the jets as that ball got over the head of the center fielder Lyons. And the number 9 hitter ends up with a 3-base hit. And another run for Milford now stands at third base with 2 outs in the inning and will now go second time through the order. Gonsalves with a single his first time up now stands in with an RBI opportunity. He swings at the first pitch, hits a grounder to shortstop. It's gobbled up by Haba. Here's his throw to first base. And it pulls the first baseman off the bag. Gonsalves is safe, and in the back door from third base comes Tony Mobilia with the second Milford run of the game. Haba was in good fielding position, grabbed that ball cleanly, but his throw to first base was low. You saw Mackey nearly go into a split to try to dig that ball out, but he couldn't maintain contact with first. And that'll no doubt go as an E6, an error on the shortstop, allowing Gonsalves to reach and Mobilia to score, so an unearned run makes it a 2-0 Milford lead. And keeps it going now for Arcudi as that ball is outside. It gets past the catcher, and down to second base goes Ryan Gonsalves. Arcudi now the 5th Milford batter to come to the plate in the second inning. Now has a man in scoring position after the passed ball. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That just misses outside. Arcudi struck out looking his first time up. And now this ball sent foul over towards the home dugout. Two down in the bottom of the second inning, a man in scoring position. The next pitch to Arcudi misses high. And it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count to the senior with Aiden Wild waiting on deck. You have to think Wolfel will go after Arcudi here. Here's the pitch. And it misses low for ball 4. Second walk of the game for Wolfel. And it puts 2 on with 2 outs now for Wild, who struck out looking at 3 pitches in his first at bat. A conference now taking place on the mound between the third baseman Noviello, the catcher Jake Mackey, and the pitcher. Now looks like Coach Brown is going to enter into this conference. Wolfel was able to retire the first 2 batters of this inning. It looked like it was going to be a quick one, but Mobilia coming through with the triple, coming into score on the errant throw by the shortstop. And then the walk to Arcudi, setting up men at first and second base now for Wild. A sprinkling of fans around Pheno Field, a pretty decent showing for an afternoon game, as this ball comes in on Wild, hits him off the backside, and he will head down to first base. Trying to come in on Wild, came in far too much. And the hit by pitch loads the bases. And an opportunity now for Tamani, who already has an RBI to his credit so far today. An RBI single back in the first. Base is full of Scarlet Hawks runners as Tamani looks at the first pitch outside for ball 1. Wolfel rattled here in the second. Milford trying to take advantage. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And that's low. Tamani has hit well on the early season. He came into this afternoon with a .429 batting average. With 4 runs batted in, you can make it 5 after his first inning RBI. Lays off that outside pitch, but it nicked a piece of the strike zone, says the home plate umpire. Brings the count to 2-1. The next offering on the way, and it's swung on and missed. And from a 2-ball, no-strike count, it's now even at 2-2. Gonsalves leads off of third, Arcudi off of second, Wild at first as this ball is swung on and missed. A breaking ball that had Tamani off balance, and Wolfel comes back and gets his 5th strikeout, well-timed. As he strands the bases loaded, Milford does get a run in the inning, but they end up leaving 3 men on base. And through 2 full innings now here at Pheno Field, it is Milford 2 and Franklin nothing here on coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for Milford. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 error for Franklin as we enter into the top of the 3rd inning here at Pheno Field. Milford getting a run in that 2nd inning, but they did leave the bases loaded. Tamani getting ahead in the count with the bases full, but Wolfel coming back with 3 straight strikes to end the inning. 5 Ks for Wolfel. He definitely needed that strikeout most of all to Tamani to limit the damage in that bottom of the 2nd inning. So with a 2-0 lead now, Wild set to face the Panther bats. His first pitch into the number 9 hitter, Evan Wendell, is high for ball 1. Batters 9, 1, and 2 expected in the frame, and Wendell now ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Wild back into the windup. The pitch high for ball 3. So Wild pitching very carefully to the number 9 man, and now has fallen behind 3 balls and no strikes. Jake Lyons waiting on deck. Here's the pitch. And that's inside for ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to Wendell. And not the way Aiden Wild wanted to start this inning after seeing his lead increased to a 2-0 margin. That walk will quickly bring the tying run to the plate for Franklin in leadoff hitter Jake Lyons, who grounded out 6-3 his first time up. Back to the stretch for Wild. Here's his pitch. It's grounded right back to the mound. Could be two. Wild lost the throw to the shortstop. Out at second base. The return throw to first is in time. 1-6-3. Milford turns the double play. The first pitch into the leadoff batter sent it hard right back to the pitcher's mound. Wild's throw to the shortstop was a bit of a lob toss, but Tamani was able to handle it, and a quick throw to first got there just ahead of Lyons. So that leadoff base runner quickly erased, 2 down. Now for the number 2 hitter, Cam Lupine. And he takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Lupine, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Both of these pitchers piling up the strikeouts early, 4 for Wild and 5 for Woelfel. As Lupine sends one slowly on the ground to first, no problem for Masick. He takes it to the bag unassisted. And in the end, only 3 batters come to the plate for the Panthers here in the 3rd inning. We head on to the home half of the frame. It is still a 2-0 lead for the Milford Scarlet Hawks here on Milford TV. Alex Cody, Tyler Renault, and Alex Masick, batters 5, 6, and 7, due up for the home team in the home half of the 3rd. And the first pitch in from Brian Woelfel misses outside to Alex Cody. And now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. That one getting a piece of the upper part of the strike zone. Alex Cody walking his first time up. Cody, as we mentioned, elite understanding of the strike zone. It was so impressive to see the freshman last season. So comfortable with the hitting area. One of the on-base percentage leaders on the team. And a good bat as well. When he swings the bat, he makes solid contact. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now to the sophomore Alex Cody. He sends one on the ground hard to third base. A brief bobble for Noviello, but he recovers and sends an accurate throw across the diamond to retire Cody 5-3 to open up the 3rd inning. And of course, as you look out at Pheno Field, you will no doubt see the difference in the infield conditions here. More on that in a moment. The first pitch into Tyler Renault. Was he able to hold up on the swing? And they'll say it was a strike. The home plate umpire gesturing towards the first base umpire. We did not see a call there. So the home plate umpire calling the strike on the swing. And now Renault down 0-2. We've seen a bit of indecision out of the umpires at times this afternoon. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's waved at and missed, so a quick at bat for Renault. He's down on strikes for the 2nd time. But back to the field conditions. After the Legion season last year, just prior to the winter, this entire infield was torn down, leveled off, and then resodded. And you can see now just pristine conditions around the Pheno infield. As the first pitch into Alex Masick misses for ball 1. They added a warning track all the way around the infield as well. Masick tapping that ball foul over the backstop. At times when I've had Anthony Mazzini in to join me on the broadcast, he talked about all of the quirks of the Milford infield in the past. Lips around the infield that made it very difficult at times to judge ground balls. That will no longer be the case. A perfectly level infield with brand new sod. A great playing surface here at Pheno. As Masick sends that ball foul to now bring the count to 1-2. Of course, Pheno Field will be the home of the 2017 Massachusetts Legion State Tournament. So getting some upgrades in the offseason to prepare for that big tournament coming up later this summer. The outside pitch to Masick evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The base is empty. Woelfel looking for a 1-2-3 inning. The pitch into Masick misses up and away, and now the count runs full. Alex grounded out to the 3rd baseman his first time up. Here's the windup and the pitch, and that swung on and missed. A late swing from Masick. And he is down on strikes. 2 Ks in the inning for Brian Wolfel, which brings his total for the game now up to 7. At times, Wolfel has been dominant, but he's given up a couple of runs so far in this one. As we head to the 4th inning, it remains a 2-0 lead for the Milford Scarlet Hawks over the Franklin Panthers here on Milford TV. Aiden Wild back out for his 4th inning of work through 3 innings pitched. He's allowed just 1 hit and 1 walk, no runs allowed, and has struck out 4. He has hit a batter. The best chance for Franklin so far came in the 2nd inning when they had runners at 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, but Wild able to induce a ground ball back to the mound. Gets a called strike there, which drew the ire of the Franklin bench. This pitch sent just over the backstop and off to the left of the press box. 2 strikes now on Ryan Hodgkins to lead things off here in the top of the 4th. And this one is a liner out to right field. In comes Tony Mobilia, and he's able to make the catch. The outfield playing shallow for the Scarlet Hawks, and that helped Mobilia make up the ground and catch up to that sinking liner before it hit the turf. So Hodgkins now 0 for 2. And that brings up Josh Mackey, who struck out swinging his first time and can't catch up to the high fastball of Aiden Wild. Down 0-1. Talking about talented basketball players, you can certainly add Josh Mackey into the mix. Part of a Franklin Panthers varsity basketball team that advanced all the way to a Division I state title game. That ball comes inside, just misses the arm of Mackey. That Panthers basketball team coming up short in the state title game to a very talented Cambridge Ringen Latin team. Another inside pitch, and that spins Mackey off the plate. Batting with the bases empty and 1 down in the 4th. Wild back into the windup. This pitch now is lofted foul off behind the stands on the first base side. The first base dugout is the home dugout during the Legion season, but the visitors dugout during the high school campaign. The Franklin Panthers occupying that first base dugout as this pitch is sent on a couple of bounces back towards the mound. Wild stays with it, has plenty of time to fire to first. And Mackey out 1-3 for the 2nd out in the 4th inning. We have not seen much contact for these Franklin batters against Aiden Wild so far in this game, and when they have put the bat on the ball, it has typically been weak contact with the exception of the single from Alex Aba back in the 2nd inning. That ball fouled off at the dish by Tyler Gomes. 0-1 the count with now 2 outs and the base is clear. Pitch down in the dirt. A lighter breeze now blowing from right to left across the outfield. We've seen the wind change directions a couple of times since we've been here. This ball sent in the air, foul over the backstop and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and no runners on for Franklin in the top of the 4th. Wild shakes off the first sign from Lynch, now has the pitch he likes. And it's sent on the ground slowly down the 3rd base line, but it ends up in foul territory. Stays a 1 ball, 2 strike count. As Gomes digs back in on the right side, hoists the bat over the shoulder. As Wild goes into the windup, his pitch is up and in for ball 2. These right-handed batters in particular have taken a chance crowding close into the plate with these fastballs that at times have come up and in. Here, this ball is sent in the air on the infield. Alex Masick winds his way about halfway up the first base line before making the catch for the out that ends the inning. 1-2-3 Wild sets them down in order in the 4th inning. We head to the home half of the frame. It is still a 2-0 lead for Milford here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Batters 8, 9, and 1 now due up for the Scarlet Hawks in the home half of the 4th. Kevin Cambrola with a first pitch foul ball off and out of play to the right side. Cambrola is 0 for 1, one of 7 batters to strike out today against pitcher Brian Woelfel. Meanwhile, a terrific bunt placed down the third base line. Textbook fundamentals for Kevin Cambrola. Nothing the catcher or pitcher could do to try to get Cambrola at first. Caught the defense completely by surprise. That is just a terrific bunt. Getting it just far enough down that third base line. Too long of a run for the catcher or the pitcher. And of course, good speed helping the situation as well, leading to a leadoff bunt single for Kevin Cambrola. He's at first base now for Tony Mobilia, who tripled in his first at bat. Ended up coming around to score Milford's 2nd run. The runner dances down the line but does not go, as that pitch is a strike. Mobilia not happy. The set by Woelfel. Now a pickoff check over at first base, a high throw. And Josh Mackey helping out his pitcher's cause by being able to leap and keep that ball on the infield. There is plenty of foul territory here at Pheno Field. A ball that gets past the first baseman can lead to at least 1, if not multiple bases for the runner. Mobilia in on the left side. But before we see another pitch, we see another pickoff check, and again, Cambrola's in safely. Woelfel trying to keep that runner off balance, now comes to the plate, and it's a foul tip into the mitt of Jake Mackey, and Mobilia becomes yet another strikeout victim. Brian Woelfel striking out 3 batters in the first, 2 in the second, 2 more in the third. And now collecting his 8th strikeout to get the first out here in the bottom of the 4th as the runner takes off. The pitch is in for a strike, but it sneaks under the glove of the catcher Jake Mackey, and Cambrola is into second base with an uncontested steal. Milford has used their speed to their advantage when they've gotten on base so far today. That's their 3rd stolen base. And now this pitch into the leadoff hitter Ryan Gonsalves, misses outside, evening the count at 1-1. Gonsalves has been on base twice. He singled and scored a run in the first inning, also had a steal, and reached on an errant throw by the shortstop Alex Haba in the second, and was stranded at third base. Milford scoring their 2nd run in the 2nd inning, but did have a bit of a squander as they left the bases loaded. Gonsalves wearing number 7 on his back, settles in on the right side. A peek down to second. Now the pitch to the plate for Woelfel is in for a strike. More dancing for Cambrola at second base, as this pitch is hit in the air, drifting into foul territory behind first base. The pitcher takes charge of the play, and Woelfel makes the catch. Maybe sensing that his catcher and first baseman were not reading the ball well. Woelfel was able to see it the whole way, and he makes the catch. So a foul out to the pitcher for Gonsalves is out number 2 in the inning. And so now with 2 down, Arcudi trying to drive that man in from second base. Arcudi is 0 for 1 He did reach on a walk his last time up, a pickoff play on at second base. But Cambrola able to get back. Arcudi taps the bat on home plate as he waits for the next pitch. Here it comes, and it misses. Two outs deep in the bottom of the fourth inning, getting into the later stages of this game, as that ball misses inside. Once again, we see Cambrola out to a massive lead at second base, as this pitch comes in as a called strike. Arcudi ahead in the count, narrowing down his strike zone. Again, the set for Wolfel. Here's his pitch, and this is a line drive over the head of the shortstop, out into left center field. Touching third base is Cambrola. He will score without a throw as Arcudi heads down to second base with a 2-out RBI double. And Milford now takes a 3-0 lead. Arcudi pumps his fist as he looks back to his teammates on the third base side. Arcudi, a hard line drive. Haba gave it a look, leaping at shortstop, but that was well over his head and out into left center. The second extra base hit for Milford today. And a 2-out RBI to give Milford now a 3-0 advantage. And right back once again with a runner in scoring position at second base. Good speed on the bases once again with Arcudi. Really 1 through 9. This is a pretty stealthy team. And not messing around with Arcudi, or excuse me, not messing around with Aiden Wild with the base open and 2 outs. So Wild at first base now on the intentional pass. It puts runners at first and second, and first pitch swinging Tamani sends it slowly on the ground to second. And the throw from Lupin to first will end things here in the inning. So the intentional walk to Wild pays off as Tamani grounds out to end the inning, but Milford increases their lead on the 2-out RBI double by Anthony Arcudi, and Milford will take a 3-0 lead into the top of the 5th inning, which we will have for you next here on Milford TV. Milford scored a run in the first, a run in the second, and a run in the bottom of the 4th inning, courtesy of a 2-out double by Anthony Arcudi. They take a 3-0 lead now into the 5th. Aiden Wild, the starting pitcher, back out for his 5th inning of work. Facing batters 6, 7, and 8, Jake Noviello, the third baseman, to lead things off. Wild working quickly. That ball just misses. And Coach Pellegrini right to the edge of that new warning track, checking on where that ball missed. Wild's next offering. This is driven in the air out to right field. A bit of a stumble for Mobilia. Can he recover? No, the ball is off his glove. And down on the turf in right field and to second base goes Noviello to lead off the top of the 5th. Mobilia just a bit of a stumble as he broke after that ball. He was able to make up the ground. He was there to make the catch, but the ball clanked off his glove. And an error on the right fielder for Milford allows Franklin to immediately put a runner in scoring position. We'll see if that's the break Franklin needs to get their bats going. First pitch swinging here, Alex Haba sends it in the air. Another chance for Mobilia. He calls for it and is able to make the catch. A routine pop-up. And Mobilia handles it for out number 1. A quick out for the shortstop, Alex Haba, who is now 1 for 2. He did single back in the 2nd inning. But a pop-up here keeps Noviello at second now with 1 down. And Jake Mackey, the catcher, at the plate. 0 for 1. He swings at the first pitch and pops it up. Lynch over to give it a look right to the edge of the playing surface, and it stays on the field. And the catcher, Riley Lynch, makes the catch in foul ground. back-to-back pop-ups on consecutive pitches. And Wild has a chance now to quickly shut down this inning. Noviello at second base with no outs, remains there now with 2 down, and it will take something from the number 9 hitter, Evan Wendell, if we are to continue. Wendell takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Wendell did reach on a 4-pitch walk to lead off the 3rd inning. Starts off ahead in the count against Wild here. As this ball is inside, it gets past the glove of Lynch to the backstop, and that allows Noviello to advance to 3rd. Likely go as a wild pitch. And maybe a cross up there for Lynch. So now that runner at 3rd base. Here's the 2-0, and that's high. That gets past Lynch. It quickly rattles back to the catcher. He tries to send the ball back to the plate himself. He had Wild there covering, but Lynch instead making that desperation dive towards the plate. Could not get there in time as the run scores. And Lynch, in his first season on this varsity team, those are maybe the lessons learned on the job. It may have been the better play for the shuffle toss to the pitcher to try to cut down that runner at the plate, but instead back-to-back wild pitches allows Noviello to score the first Franklin run, and it is now a 3-1 ball game. So the run self-inflicted for Milford here in the 5th inning. Noviello getting on base after the error out in right field, and then back-to-back wild pitches, bringing the runner around after Milford had collected 2 outs. There's a strike out of Wild. Evan Wendell remains the batter at the plate, now with the bases empty and 2 outs. And he sees that pitch drop in too low for ball 4, so for the 2nd time today, Wendell able to work a walk out of the number 9 hole. And that will bring Alex Dion out of the dugout for Milford to talk things over with Wild, who has faltered here for the first time in the game. He's really been in cruise control for much of this outing. He has still only allowed 1 hit, but allowing an unearned run with a combination of the error and wild pitches. Just a quick conversation with Milford's pitching guru, Alex Dion. Really a tremendous addition to the staff. That was another point of emphasis for Coach Pellegrini prior to the season. So thrilled to have Coach Dion on his staff here. Telling me before the season started he expects that Alex Dion will be a head coach very soon, and a very good one at that, but he will be happy to have him on his staff for as long as he can. The runner takes off from first as the pitch is in for a strike. Here's the throw from Lynch. And bounces in front of second base. Not a lot on that throw from Lynch. So a steal for Wendell. He gets himself into scoring position. Another pitch from Wild, and this is a high chopper on the infield. It's going to be a tough play, and Aiden Wild can't do anything with it. He keeps it in the glove. That was the smart play. That ball took a hard bounce right in front of the plate, and a high arcing bounce over towards the third base side, and by the time Wild could field it, he was in no position to throw to first. Wendell able to advance to third, so an infield single now keeps the inning going. Runners at the corners as Wild sends a pickoff check low in the dirt to first base, but handled by Masick. That's the first hit of the inning, just the second hit for Franklin on the day. Runners at the corners now for Cam Lupin, and now quickly the runner takes off for second base, and Riley Lynch with a bit of a bluff throw back towards the mound. The second Franklin steal of the inning, now 2 runners in scoring position. Here's the pitch, it's sent foul. The tying runs on base and in scoring position for Franklin here in this 5th inning. Wild trying to get out of this frame with the lead intact. Here's his next pitch, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. Lupin went after the high fastball, could not make contact, and a clutch strikeout for Wild, his 5th K of the game, and it strands those tying runs in scoring position. Franklin does get 1, but again, leaving 2 men on, that allows Milford to keep the lead. It's now 3-1 as we will head to the bottom half of the 5th inning in this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. It's the bottom of the 5th inning now here at Pheno Field as Milford TV brings you coverage of Milford High School baseball. Tim Coet here on the call. And as we get started in this home half of the 5th, there is a new pitcher on for Franklin. After Brian Wolfel went the first 4 innings, it is now Matthew Foley into the game. And the righty delivers his first pitch, a fastball in for a called strike to Alex Cody. Wolfel went the first 4, allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 5 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 8. Cody now with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The sophomore 0 for 1 with a walk. Jumps ahead in the count now. Really a very good crowd on hand here at Pheno Field. Plenty of fans lined up down the right field line, as we see so often during the Legion season, as Cody swings and misses to even the count at 2. A student section forming behind the third base dugout, and also plenty of fans around this home plate area as well. So plenty of spectators taking in this afternoon baseball game, and certainly with good reason. Perfect weather. A little bit cooler than some of the weather we experienced earlier this week, but still a perfect spring day as that ball comes in on Cody. Trying to get things started for the Milford offense here in the 5th. Franklin cutting into that Milford lead just a bit. It's now a 3-1 margin. The next offering to Cody is a dribbler down the first base line, foul. And another good at bat being put on by Alex Cody. He will be followed by Tyler Renault and Alex Masick. Foley's next pitch. This is a liner out to left field. It catches Wendell off guard. He can't get it, and it's going to roll all the way towards the fence. It will be extra bases for Cody. He rounds second, heads into third as the ball is still deep in the outfield. They'll wave Cody all the way around. Here comes the throw. It will not be in time as Alex Cody circles the bases. Cody getting that one past the dive of Wendell. It did not look like the left fielder got a glove on that, so it should go indeed as an inside the park home run for Alex Cody. And that certainly gets the hometown crowd pumped up. So Milford gets the run right back. It's now 4-1 as Tyler Renault takes the pitch high for a ball. That is the danger of this Pheno Field outfield. As Renault sends this ball out to shortstop, it hangs up for Haba to make the catch. You see a lot of outfielders play shallow here at Pheno. But the only problem with that is if the ball gets past you or over your head, it has a long way to roll. As you look at those markers across the outfield, you see 375 down the line and right, all the way out to 432 in straightaway right field. As Masick sends this ball foul and out of play off to the right. It is 416 out to straightaway left field. It comes in, I believe, to about 374 feet down the line in left field. And of course, straightaway center, pretty much infinite territory out there. well over 500 feet to the goalpost area out there in center field. A very quirky outfield, as everyone knows here at Pheno Field. As Masick takes the pitch high, batting with the bases empty after the inside the Parker from Cody. And the mound visit now for the catcher, Jake Mackey, talking things over with Foley. Matthew Foley coming in relief of Brian Wolfel, and his first batter, he allows an inside the park home run. Now in a tough battle with Alex Masick. A 2-ball, 2-strike count to Masick playing first base today for Milford. Here's the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. Masick strikes out for the second time. He is 0 for 3 on the day. It's the first out here in the 5th as now Kevin Cambrola comes to the plate. Cambrola laying down a terrific bunt down the third base line his last time up, reaching on the bunt single. He stole a base and then came around to score on the 2-out double by Arcudi. Here's the pitch, and that's a little bit outside and low. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Getting a little bit chillier here at Pheno as we head into the later afternoon hours. A light cloud cover now over the field. We saw blue skies overhead when we got started about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And there's a called strike to Cambrola. Batting with the bases empty and 1 down. Here's the windup and the pitch from Foley. And that is high. And Cambrola will take his base. A 1-out walk issued. That's the 3rd walk issued by Franklin pitching this afternoon. And of course, immediately puts a speed threat on the bases ahead of Mobilia, already showing bunt, now pulls the bat back and takes the pitch high for ball 1. Bottom of the 5th here in Pheno Field. As that pickoff check bounces into first base. Mackey able to keep it in front of him. But Cambrola pops right back out to a lead. Mobilia showing bunt again pulls the bat back as Cambrola takes off, and he will take second base uncontested. That's the 2nd stolen base for Cambrola this afternoon, and the 4th steal overall today for the Scarlet Hawks. And now with a runner in scoring position, Mobilia swings away. Comes up empty. Foley staring down at that runner at second, now fires to the plate and misses outside. Three balls and 1 strike now the count to Milford's number 9 hitter, Tony Mobilia. Here's the pitch, and it's sent hard and foul to the backstop, and that fills up the count. Mobilia back in on the left side, ready to see a 3-2 pitch. It's low for ball 4. Back-to-back walks of the 8 and 9 hitters in the Milford lineup. And Milford with a rally in the making here in the bottom of the 5th inning. They already have 1 run in, courtesy of the inside the park home run for Alex Cody, as the Franklin coaching staff comes out of the dugout. And it looks like we'll see a pitching change here, so a very short outing for Matthew Foley. He comes in here and faces a total of 5 batters. He's only able to retire one of them. Allowing a run on the inside the park homer, and now back-to-back walks. And so a pitching change here. We will step aside as the new arm warms up on the mound. Milford with 2 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Looking to continue to build up a lead. That's 4-1 Milford over Franklin right now. We'll be back with more here in the bottom of the 5th inning right here on Milford TV. Franklin utilizing their 3rd pitcher of the afternoon here as James Leofanti comes out of the bullpen to replace Foley. Matthew Foley going just a 1/3 of an inning, allowing 1 run on 1 hit. That 1 hit, the inside the park home run by Alex Cody. He's also walked a pair of batters, responsible for those runners at first and second base, as Leofanti will get ready to face Ryan Gonsalves as Milford once again brings the top of their order to the plate. In the midst of the bottom of the 5th inning, Milford with 2 men on, 1 out. And Gonsalves now in on the right side. He singled in the 1st and scored a run. Reached on an error in the 2nd and popped out in foul ground to the pitcher his last time up. Timeout called by the home plate umpire. Looked like he was maybe repositioning his colleague on the infield. And now timeout again. More confusion here for this umpiring crew as the infield umpire a little confused as to where he should set up in this situation with runners at 1st and 2nd. Comes into the lip of the grass. About 2/3 of the way down between 1st and 2nd. As this ball is sent on the ground to 3rd base. The throw across the diamond is there in time. And that is the out that will retire the side here in the inning. So my apologies, 2 outs in the inning, not 1 out in the inning, as Renault was retired on the line out to shortstop and Masick struck out swinging prior to those back-to-back walks. So that ground ball does indeed retire the side. Milford leaves a pair of runners on, but they do score a run in this 5th inning. Once again, up by 3. They lead it 4-1 as we head to the 6th. On coverage of Milford High School baseball here on Milford TV. 4 runs on 6 hits with 1 error for Milford, 1 run, 2 hits, and an error for the Panthers. We've now reached the top half of the 6th inning, and the starting pitcher for Milford back out there. Aiden Wild pitching a very solid ball game here this afternoon. He sends his first pitch of the 6th inning outside and low to Ryan Hodgkins, who so far is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. As this pitch is hit high in the air out to left field, tracking it is Cambrola. He still is going back, but he is able to make the catch. The wind may have knocked that ball down a little bit. If that ball had been hit back in the 2nd inning, it might have traveled further. But Cambrola able to make the catch, and Hodgkins now 0 for 3 after that fly out to left. 1 out and nobody on here in the 6th inning as Mackey stings that ball down the first base line, but foul. Josh Mackey, the first baseman, a strikeout victim in the 2nd and grounded out back to the pitcher in the 4th. And that ball in for a called strike 2. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Franklin lineup, a combined 0 for 6. Only reaching base on a hit by pitch, and now a swing and a miss for Mackey. He goes down. Six strikeouts now for Aiden Wild. And he quickly has 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. And his first pitch into the designated hitter, Tyler Gomes, misses for ball 1. So Hodgkins, the 3-hitter, 0 for 3. Mackey, the cleanup man, 0 for 3. Gomes, the only member of those middle-of-the-order bats to reach base as he was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. Other than that, grounded out to first base to end the 4th inning. Another strike poured in by Wild, looking for his second 1-2-3 inning, make that his third 1-2-3 inning of the game. As this ball is sent in the air out to right field, Mobilia in the sun field, but he's able to stay with that fly ball to make the catch, and it is a quick and easy 6th inning for Aiden Wild. He gets them 1-2-3. And we will head to the home half of the 6th inning. Milford still out in front. They lead Franklin by a score of 4-1 as we bring you coverage of this 2017 spring sports season right here on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks coming into this game with a record of 1-2, trying to get back to the 500 mark, a place they did not manage to get to at any point last season. But they are 3 defensive outs away from their second victory of the season, but first coming to bat here in the bottom of the 6th against James Leofanti, the Franklin relief pitcher, who dishes ball 1 into Anthony Arcudi, who's had a good day at the plate, a walk in the 2nd inning, and then sent a double to the outfield to drive in a run in the 4th. Now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Arcudi wearing number 1 on the back of the uniform, the same number he wore during the basketball season. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's outside for ball 3. Good discipline so far in the at-bat for Arcudi, trying to get on ahead of Aiden Wild. Here comes a 3-0 pitch, and that hits the inside part of the plate. Arcudi taking all the way, ahead 3-0. Now the count, 3 balls and a strike. And now swinging is Arcudi. He delivers it out towards the parking lot, and that fills the count. The sunshine once again making its presence felt here at Pheno. Most of the field now back in the sunshine. Here's a payoff pitch that bounces into Arcudi, and he will take his base, a leadoff walk. That is now the 5th walk for Franklin pitching this afternoon. Puts a very speedy runner aboard at first base with no outs in the inning, and now Aiden Wild to the dish looking for his first hit today. Swings at the first pitch and sends it just foul down the third base line. That was a close one as it went over the third base bag. The home plate umpire ruling it foul. Coach Pellegrini once again with some disagreement. So that will go with strike 1 to Aiden Wild. Aiden has reached base twice in the game, once via a hit by pitch, and he was intentionally walked his last time up. Now a breaking ball, it gets out of the glove of Mackey, rolls towards the backstop, and Arcudi will trot down to second base. A wild pitch. And that puts another insurance run in scoring position for Milford. A 1-ball, 1-strike count to Wild. And another pitch in the dirt. This one gets past the catcher and onto third base now goes Arcudi. Getting a free ride around the bases. He walked. And now a wild pitch and a passed ball puts Arcudi at third base with no outs in the inning. It's now a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Wild. And another ball in the dirt. This one gets away from the catcher, but not far enough for Arcudi to try to come in to score. Aiden Wild, who has pitched 6 superb innings so far in this game, looking to pad his offensive stats. Ahead 3-1. Here's the pitch from Leofonte, and it hits the outside part of the plate, just barely. Wild was ready to discard the bat. Instead, he steps back in with a full count. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's swung on and missed. A foul tip into the mitt of the catcher, Jake Mackey. Wild out ahead of that off-speed pitch. He strikes out for the second time today. One man gone now in the bottom of the 6th inning, as Zach Tamani digs in for his 4th at bat. He takes the first pitch low. A lot of pitches down in the dirt for James Leofonte so far in this inning. Tamani got the offense rolling back in the 1st inning with an RBI single that at the time put Milford up 1-0. Now sends a slow ground ball to shortstop. The infield drawn in, the throw to the plate, not in time. It took Alex Aba a little while to get that ball out of the glove. Sent a high throw to the plate, no chance for Mackey to swipe the tag down. It'll go as a fielder's choice and an RBI. As Tamani reaches at first, he drives in his 2nd run of the game. As Arcudi comes in to score, and it is now a 5-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. So after having that breakout offensive game yesterday against Canton, scoring 11 times, the offense having another good day here today against a very good pitching staff. So far pushing across 5 runs. And timeout is granted as we will see another pitching change. So head coach Zach Brown for Franklin using a lot of arms in this one. Leofonte, who came in with 2 outs in the 5th inning, faces 3 batters here in the 6th. And he will hand over the baseball. It is now a 5-1 Milford lead with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Again, we will step aside for the pitching change. More to come here in the 6th inning next on Milford TV. James Leofonte giving way to Matthew Dumart, now the 4th Franklin pitcher on the hill. He comes in with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Zach Tamani, the runner at first base, Alex Cody at the plate. The lefty reliever facing the left-handed batting Alex Cody. Here's the first pitch, and this is sent in the air out to center field. Ranging in a few steps is Jake Lyons. He makes the catch. And a rare 1 pitch at bat for Alex Cody. He becomes out number 2. Tamani remains at first base. So 2/3 of an inning officially out of James Leofonte. He did not give up a hit in his 2/3 of an inning, but did allow a run with the walk combined with the fielder's choice, as now the runner takes off. Tamani able to steal second base as the throw again short hopped the bag. Seen some throwing issues for both of these catchers today. They've not been able to do much to keep the running game in check. As now this ball is lofted off the bat of Tyler Renault out towards second base. Settling underneath is Lupin. He makes the catch. And that is the out that will end things here in the 6th inning. Milford does end up tacking on a single run here in the 6th inning. The RBI credited to Zach Tamani. And so Milford will carry a 5-1 lead into the 7th inning. 3 more outs to get, and Aiden Wild back out on the mound to get them. We'll see if he can finish off the complete game effort when we come back next here on Milford TV. The junior Aiden Wild trying to go the distance in this one through 6 innings so far in his outing. He has been excellent, just a single unearned run allowed on 2 hits. He has walked 2 and struck out 6. He has kept this strong Franklin offense in check through the majority of the afternoon. Looking to finish off things here in the 7th, where he will face batters 6, 7, and 8. The third baseman Jake Noviello set to lead it off. Noviello 0 for 2. He did reach on an error his last time up and came around to score. Here he pops one up behind the plate, and that one ends up just beyond the backstop. Lynch had a hard time picking up that ball, but it did drift beyond the backstop for strike one. Really the one trouble inning for Aiden Wild, as Noviello reached on the error out in right field and ended up coming around to score after back-to-back Wild pitches. This ball comes in high and pops in and out of the mid of Lynch. That evens the count at 1-1. Noviello has also struck out in this game. One of Wild's 6 Ks. Takes a called strike right at the bottom of the zone there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wild back into the windup. Here is the pitch, and that drops in a little bit low. This game about an hour and 15 minutes old, or excuse me, about an hour and 45 minutes old, I should say, as this ball is skied down the right field line into foul territory. A long run from Masick. He was able to get there, but couldn't make the catch. If you take a look around the field, you can see where the new field turf that was installed in the offseason meets the old playing surface here at Pheno Field, several feet into the outfield. It was right around that lip of where the new turf meets the old turf that Masick lost track of that ball. Maybe a little bit of unsure footing there. It ends up dropping as a strike. The at-bat continues. Noviello making Wild continue to throw pitches here in this first at-bat of the 7th. Wild ready with another, and it swung on and missed. It briefly gets out of the glove of Lynch. He couldn't get the tag down. Now lobs the throw out to first base, and very nice by Alex Masick, getting himself into foul ground to clear the runner and maintain contact with the bag. That completes the strikeout. Riley Lynch, a sophomore in his first season on this varsity squad. He's handled the pitches very well in this game today. He's fielded his position well. You can see the throwing is one thing that's going to be a work in progress for Lynch. A little unsure throwing to the bases. As the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike on the shortstop, Alex Haba. Sends this on the ground towards first base. Masick has it. He will take it to the bag himself. And Haba is retired for out number 2, 3 unassisted on that out. And the Franklin Panthers now down to their final out in this game. The base is empty with 2 down. And that leaves it up to the catcher, Jake Mackey. Looks like we might be seeing a pinch hitter come up here, as J.B. Flores now steps to the plate. Flores, the sophomore. Taking over for Mackey, who went 0 for 2 with a ground out and a foul out. The first pitch into Flores is a called strike 1. The 0-1 pitch, this is sent in the air out to right field, room for Mobilia. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. A 1-2-3 7th inning as Aiden Wild retires the final 7 batters of the game. And he earns the victory. A dominant performance on the mound for Wild. Milford maximizing their offensive opportunities against this Franklin pitching here this afternoon, and so Milford comes away with the victory. They defeat Franklin by a final score of 5-1. Wild gets the victory on the mound. The loss goes to the starting pitcher for the Panthers, Brian Wolfel. But a solid effort all the way around for the Scarlet Hawks as they improve to 2-2 now overall on the season. A great game here today. We'll be right back in action tomorrow for our first softball coverage of the season as the softball team takes on Grafton. We hope you will join us then. But that will wrap things up here this afternoon. A big thank you to our crew out for our first spring sports action of the season. Our director for the game today, Daniel Harlow. Our camera operators, Mike Sperling and John Giacomuzzi. And I am Tim Coette. The final score, one final time, Milford 5 and Franklin 1. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.